Hi, my name is Victoria Skalva, and I'm a rising fourth-year medical student at the Medical College of Georgia, and I'm going to be talking about a presentation I did about the distribution of the urological workforce in the state of Georgia. So some background, the American Urological Association conducts a yearly census based off national provider identifier data that is used to identify urologists that are currently working that year in the United States. And this database is utilized along with online surveys that have been verified against the American Board of Urology records. And based off the AUA data, less populous states appear to have a better urologist to total population ratio than certain more populous states. So an example of this is if you take a look at South Dakota and Montana, these two states have a smaller population than a lot of the other states in the United States. However, they are considered to have a high urologist to population ratio compared to other states such as New Jersey, Tennessee, and Florida, which is kind of surprising. And so our objective is to assess whether the number of urologists in the state of Georgia is overreported in the AUA census. So the methods that we used was the NPI Registry Public Search Database. And for the NPI type, we set it to individual, and the taxonomy description was set to urology, and the state of Georgia was selected for the state. And a list of active providers was generated, and we only looked at the active providers that were listed under urology. And we took each provider and did a Google search on them to verify the provider's practice location. So hospital websites, private practice websites, and Doximity was used to do this. However, not all providers were able to be found on a Google search. And so if these providers were not able to be found, we just went off the primary practice address that was listed in the NPI for that provider. And from there, urologists were organized by county. So we found through our analysis there to be 350 urologists in the state of Georgia. However, the AUA 2021 census found 372 urologists. We also found that the NPI provider listings were found to be inaccurate. So some providers are registered in the NPI in Georgia and their primary practice address is a Georgia PO box. However, they have never practiced in Georgia, or they used to practice in Georgia, but they are currently practicing in another state, but they still come up under the state of Georgia on the NPI. In addition to this, some retired providers were still listed as active providers, and from a Google search, you could see that they were retired, and that was listed on their Doximity or on another website that announced their retirement. And some listings have not been updated since 2008, and when you did a Google search of these providers, not much information came up on them, and so we assume that it's likely those providers retired. However, since this was not able to be verified on all the Google searches, we still chose to include those providers as we could not confidently say that they were retired. And residents are not meant to be included in the AUA census. However, a current Emory resident is not specified in the NPI as being a student in training, so it is possible that they were counted in the AUA census. And the census is based off primary practice address. However, if you want to take a look at the true distribution of urologists at a county level, that's kind of hard to do so because some urologists travel between counties to practice, and it is unknown which location is their true location that they spend the most of their time in and which locations they just happen to frequent periodically. So the map on the left is the AUA 2020 census map, and the map on the right is the map that was generated through our research. And you can notice the largest difference if you look at the counties in central Georgia and south Georgia. So on the 2020 census map, they found there to be some urologists in certain counties that we found there to be no urologists during our study. And in addition to this, some of the density of urologists varies in between the counties that on our map and the AUA 2020 map. And we also took a look at female urologists per county. So the total amount of female urologists in Georgia was found to be 35 on our study, and the total amount of urologists that we found in the state was 350. So out of Georgia's 159 counties, only 13 counties have female urologists in them. So in conclusion, a variety of issues exist with the current method of utilizing the NPI database to conduct the yearly census, but more exploration is needed in order to confirm our own findings and also better understand any potential inaccuracies that exist with the current methodology. Our study did have some limitations. We were limited in not being able to confirm our findings with the American Board of Urology records that the AUA has access to. In addition to this, providers were still included even if their primary practice address could not be confirmed on Doximity or a hospital or private practice website. So some providers that have likely since retired and NPIs haven't been updated since 2008, we still included them because we couldn't confidently say that they are retired just from an online search. So it is possible that the true amount of urologists in Georgia is even lower than the 350 number that we have found. In addition to this, insider information was used to adjust the counts that would otherwise not be available to somebody else trying to replicate our study and recreate this exact count. So for example, we adjusted the amount of urologists in Richmond County, where the Medical College of Georgia is, and also in Chatham County, where there is a private practice urology group that our school is associated with and students rotate there. And if you take a broader look at the urological workforce as a whole, the total number of urologists is predicted to decrease. So a 2021 JAMA study looked at the projected urological workforce in the US from 2020 to 2060. And the study used the AUA census data to calculate the portion of the workforce that is set to retire and the residents that are set to enter the urological workforce. So the total urologists per capita will decrease from the 2020 baseline numbers and only regain this baseline in 2060. So the 2019 AUA census found there to be 3.99 urologists per 100,000 people, while 2030 is predicted to have a ratio of 3.3 per 100,000 people, and 2060 is predicted to have a ratio of 5.2 per 100,000. And while the population of the United States that is 65 and older is predicted to increase, there will be a major decrease of urologists to patient ratio. So currently there's 23.8 urologists per 100,000 people that are aged 65 and older. And in 2035, this predicted ratio is projected to be 15.8 per 100,000 65 and older. And 2060, this ratio is predicted to be 22.3 per 100,000 people that are 65 and older. And during the same time period, while the total urological workforce is projected to decrease, the female urologists per capita are predicted to increase. And in order to maintain the current urologist to patient ratio that we are at right now, up until 2060, an increase of 96 urology residency spots are needed to be added annually to stay at this ratio. And thank you for your time.